If you think your Revit mistakes are just small technical errors and no one will ever find out about it, think again. Because in the real world architecture and BIM environment, your mistakes don't only slow down the modeling process, but it can end up wasting hundreds of hours of your work. It can create coordination chaos and it can eventually end up corrupting your entire model. And of course, by this, your team and your company will lose trust in you. In this video, I'm going to cover few of these mistakes which are highly avoidable. But if you make these mistakes, your company will think that you are unreliable, untrustworthy, and careless. This video will be a very critical video for anyone who is new to this industry and want to avoid these mistakes. So without any delays, let's get started with the video. So guys, I will start with one of the biggest mistakes that people do into a BIM or a Revit environment, where they bring in a CAD file. They don't link it, they just import a CAD file, and after importing a CAD file, you explode it. If you ever do this mistake, your company will end up retraining you or probably end up reconsidering you that why did they even hire you. Because once you explode a CAD file into a Revit environment, it brings in ton of line works, it brings in a lot of crappy geometry, it brings in textile layers, hatch patterns. All of these things are not meant for Revit. These are native AutoCAD geometry and AutoCAD patterns. Revit was not designed to read them and to handle them. So these end up messing up your model big time and degrading your health of your model significantly. So never do this. Always link a CAD file to your Revit model. Do not import a CAD file, and do not, even if you are importing a CAD file, never ever explode it. Second mistakes that is very common in our offices and in the offices around the world is using unverified families from the internet. You can go ahead and download any family out on the internet that are freely available. They are available from the manufacturers as well. As I'm showing you in this example, this is just a door, right? This is just a very simple door. But let's just have a look at the size of the door file. This is a 2 MB door file. And now I'm bringing in this door into my Revit environment. Now let's see what kind of materials it brings in. I'm going and checking the materials, and here you can see that there is a BS material over there. So that means the material that was embedded into this Revit file, it's just an example, Revit family, it is now in your Revit project. These things end up corrupting your Revit project. You will have a lot of unnecessary parameters, shared parameters, materials, line work, and your file will be bloated. So never bring in unverified, untrusted family into your Revit environment. Third mistakes that people often do in a collaborative Revit environment. Whenever you are working on a cloud-based environment where your models are synced on ACC, never do this thing. When you open Revit, you see all the recent projects as I'm showing you right now. So never click on the recent projects that were open. So what ends up happening in this thing is when your files are synced on the cloud, the recent project that the Revit is showing over here are the old file, old dated file. So whenever you open these files, they open the last thing that was saved on your local PC. And if you start working on these files directly, you can end up corrupting your own work, or you can end up corrupting the whole model as well, because the model might be upgraded since the time you used it last. Go on the Autodesk app over there and then select the project again, and then it will open in the right way. Fourth mistakes that people often do is not syncing. Okay, so I have learned this in a very hard way because I have been working into this environment since a very long time. So what happens is often people keep working, they keep working for an entire day for 6 7 hours and they don't sync. But in a collaborative environment, your Revit file is getting updated constantly. There are people who are already working on these files. You might end up corrupting your own work. You might end up losing your own work. And another mistake that people do is not relinquishing the model. So people keep working, and at the end of the day, they don't sync, they don't relinquish. And what happens is other people who are trying to open the file or work on the file can't work because you own the model. That's what happens in a collaborative work environment. So you always have to remember this. If you're not working on the model, first sync. After syncing, relinquish your controls from the model and turn off Revit. Don't keep it on. I know it takes time, but that's the proper way of doing it. The last but not the least, this is something that everyone in the Revit environment keeps ignoring, especially the people who are doing the modeling work. So do not ignore Revit warnings. You might see that, okay, these warnings keep popping up, you just cancel them and move ahead. But what now? Do you think these warnings are going away? No. Revit collects all these warnings. Revit tracks all these warnings. Revit tracks all the elements that have these warnings. It will reduce the overall health of your model. And in a BIM environment, as a BIM manager or a BIM coordinator, it's our responsibility to check the model's health. We track these warnings. We see who is creating these warnings. So don't think that your warnings and the errors that you are making in a Revit model are going unnoticed. We are the people who check these. We know exactly who made those changes by the element ID and by the workshare environment. We know what is happening in the model. So I would just say that do not make these mistakes. If there is a warning, expand it and then check how can you resolve that warning. So guys, these are few of the mistakes that you should never make in a BIM environment. And guys, if you like this video, please go ahead, hit a like. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please go ahead, hit a like and subscribe to this channel because I need your support to keep making these videos. And without your support, it's really, really difficult for me to keep my job and do this YouTube thing all over. So please go ahead, support this channel, subscribe, and I'll see you soon, guys. Bye bye.